In section 11.2, we're going to learn about the quadrilateral family tree. So we start with the quadrilateral, which, as we've learned, is just any four-sided shape. So a quadrilateral could branch off into three different categories. So we have a parallelogram, where opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are also congruent. We also could have a trapezoid, where we only have one pair of parallel sides. And then we have a kite, where consecutive sides are congruent, so the sides that are next to each other. Kite is just kind of in its own tree over there. There's nothing else that branches off from that. More specifically than a trapezoid, we could have an isosceles trapezoid. And that's a trapezoid where our legs, or we have one pair of congruent sides. Then a parallelogram can branch off into two things. So we have a rectangle and a rhombus. A rectangle is a parallelogram that has all right angles, and a rhombus is a parallelogram that has all of its sides congruent, not just opposite sides. Finally, we have a square. So a square has all of the properties of a rectangle and a rhombus, which thereby also has all the properties of a parallelogram. So all the sides are congruent, opposite sides are parallel, and all of the sides are congruent. And we have all right angles. I don't know if I said that already. So how we're going to work with some problems tomorrow is you'll see some shapes that have some markings on them, and using your information that you know about quadrilaterals, you want to name the most precise label for the following shapes. So here we have three. In that first diagram, I see that all four sides are congruent. I don't know that the angles are right angles, so I can't say that's a square. The most specific name for that could be a rhombus. In our next diagram, I see that I have one pair of parallel sides, and I also have a pair of sides congruent. So I could call this an isosceles trapezoid. So not just a trapezoid, I could get more specific because I have the congruent sides. Finally, in the last diagram, I see that the consecutive sides, or the sides next to each other, are congruent. So the only thing that could be is a kite. Let's look at four more. So in this diagram, I see that I have all right angles. It doesn't look like the sides are congruent, and that's not marked either. So the most specific thing I could say for that is that it's a rectangle. In the next shape, I just see that it has four sides. So quadrilateral is really the most specific thing I could say for that one. Finally, in the last shape, I see that I have all four right angles, and also all the sides are congruent. So I could most specifically call this a square.